Awesome.
Kimmy, I think you dropped your gay card.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I found it. Sorry,
Cancelled.
thank you.
All
Cancelled.
right, man.
Ah, that's bad. So we will bring us back into a little recap. So you had made your way back to Neverwinter. Some strolling through Neverwinter itself. You notice some slight changes of Neverwinter and the atmosphere around the city itself. In terms of there were a lot more people out on the streets. Things were not chaotic, but slightly just uprooted, let's say. Um, and well, in fact, I'll pass it over to you guys. What were your main observations in the last session? Your of Neverwinter and everything.
We know security increased a lot, and we wondered if that might be because like security's tightened up because Never Ember is now actually taking the giant threat seriously. Was one suggestion.
Still people harassing us on the street, like that old woman who turned out to be a young woman when we rejected her quite strongly. Clearly, crime is about.
Or some sort of talk about the port being closed.
Oh yes, port was closed. Yeah, that's something we should investigate.
So overall, there's a slight atmosphere mood change in Neverwinter. That enough is clear. Now you made your way to your destination with your cargo to Bluestream Street, the warehouse in which you, upon investigation, found a means in, and thusly met with Ruckert Shoghad and Gundren Rockseeker. And actually, I keep on forgetting to do this, but actually sharing handouts of characters that you meet for your journey.
Ooh, love handouts.
So let me just double check if this works. I believe this should share a pic.
So handy and out.
And then also this boy.
Oh yeah.
I assume you can see the pictures of the characters. That's
Yeah.
what you're seeing.
Aye.
Cool. So yeah,
He's very handsome, isn't he?
you met Runard Shukad and Gundren Rockseeker. Now you know Gundren Rockseeker, and for the sake of Charlie, who wasn't with us last campaign, Gundren Rockseeker was kind of like a pivotal character within the last campaign that all of our previous friends that we met at the livestock rally were acquaintances of. As a consequence of all the actions that happened within that campaign, Gundren Rockseeker became I guess the caretaker in a way of a large mine that had many benefits and links to ancient magical powers and properties. Since the time 7 years prior when that campaign happened to now, he is a much more renowned owner and founder of the Fandelver Mining Company. Just for some background. Hence the other guys probably know who he is in a meta way. But I would say that he would be a well enough known person within the Sword Coast to a degree. You might not necessarily know exactly what he looks like, but you would have heard somewhat of the name if you were in these circles within this area of the world. Now, explain to me a little bit about your conversation with Renard Shockhad and Gundam Rockseeker, and what were your consequent agreements.
Well, obviously, we wanted to follow what Tortellini set for us and deliver the cargo and get money. But then they mentioned, oh, instead of that, how about you help us at this party that we're all going to? And obviously, that the party is the Roaring Horns party. And so they talked about a meeting with, I think his name was Nelken Schnazda, who is the Zentarim, who could potentially finance their railway trip or railway system for for going all the way from Neverwinter to not what's it called
Tribor.
yeah, Tribor, exactly, and maybe
And
further
then to Yartar.
then to Yartar. That's it. And they wanted us to plant a coin on the investor so we could listen in on them, essentially. The coin is imbued with magic, and once he has it, I think we've got 24 hours of listening, essentially. Apparently at the party there's lots of meetings of the minds as well. So people who want to debate and improve society.
Yeah, exactly that. So that brings us to where we are now. You have a few days before this event, which you already had an invitation to based on other circumstances. However, now your need for being there is even greater. You have a coin that will be used, and it is up to you to establish your means of setting a plan for that. But at the same time, you are now in Neverwinter, and you have some time between yourselves to tend to some of your needs and any underlying urges that you need to fulfill. So, to put us in perspective, as we closed the last session, we were leaving the warehouse. Where do you all go? And I think you said you were going to the Beach Leviathan. But tell me a little bit about what you do that evening.
What sort of time is it?
It was getting on to being like middle of the evening, like around 8, 9.
Sounds like it's time for cards to me.
Some beers, some cards, just
Some
general
gambling,
chill
some
out
beers.
after our
Hell yeah.
long time on the road. Because we've been on the road a long time. We went to Tribor. We were only there like flash of an eye, essentially, weren't we? So it's pretty exhausting. I'm pretty sure we're all quite tired and just want to have a nice night in.
Finnan is, whilst feeling very alive during the conversation, suddenly is starting to feel very weary again and is very keen to get to the Beach Leviathan, sort some sleep out, and then prepare for shopping tomorrow.
Smash might try and go for a little dip in the river just to sort of wash off the road, not realizing that the river here is going to be filthy.
Abard is
Piping hot.
Abard will pressure the staff of the Beach Leviathan to run a bar for him. He's not entirely sure if this is the type of place that has that kind of facility, though, but will insist.
Medica tries to ask for Spino when he gets in.
Unger's also going to keep an eye out for Spino if he's about.
Cool. In terms of your bath, you are offered an old tub that hasn't been used in a long time, but it does come with a price of 4 GP.
Is this tub to keep, or is this tub for tonight?
This is just
A lifetime
for
of
the evening,
baths.
sorry.
Much like hotel toiletries, I think when we leave in the morning, you probably take it with you.
Just like tearing it out of the ground.
You take the hotel with you at that rate. I mean, 4 GP. I mean, that could get you a very nice room, or at least a small hotel.
Could I attempt to haggle using my rank and membership of the Jam Pocket as an upstanding member of society? to.
Yeah, right. I mean, you can roll me a persuasion. You are talking to Harag in this instance, the captain and landlord of the
Oh
tavern.
my god.
Oh my
It's a
god!
natural one.
6 gold, you say?
Harag,
But
You
of
should have our
course.
acid bath.
Harag, at your attempts, laughs in your face, spitting some whiskey out through his teeth. As he laughs at you and your request. It is obvious they don't get many people in these parts asking for baths. And it does make you question, Bard, the fitness of the Beach Leviathan for your tastes. But seeing as the rest of the party is here, it makes some sense in terms of cost-saving efficiencies.
Hey, Bard, come join me in the river. We'll go for a quick dip and wash off the road.
No, I've got a perfect solution. It's all good.
Well, fine. I was going to heat up a nice bit of river and jump in, but you do what you do.
Heat it up, you say?
Oh, yes, it'll be nice and warm.
Well, yes, go on then. I'll give that a go instead of having a bath, actually.
Can Finn grab Harag whilst these boys are getting in the bath?
Absolutely.
Um,
I think just
I
Shimon
gotta ask-
and Abud getting in the bath together now.
Rub
It's not a
up.
bath, is it? It's a river.
The nobility rub shoulders with each other once again.
Yeah.
I imagine it's like a matey bubble bath commercial, like from back in the day. Finn sees Harag and sort of tugs on his shirt and says, "Harag, Captain, could I request that if I could potentially use the basement to set up some brewing equipment?"
I would say Harag is quite intrigued in this anyway, but roll me a persuasion with advantage because you're in a tavern.
Oh God.
Oh,
Oh, fuck.
We're doing good tonight, lads.
Jeez.
I'm glad this isn't the main event.
It's entirely
Alright,
possible we're going to
yeah.
end up in combat here.
I'd
Roll
imagine
initiative.
Harag leans in and with kind of closing eyes as he kind of scrutinizes you. He would. I've got to try and remember Harag's voice now. Oh, what'll you be brewing down there?
Let's sort of lean closer into him and lower my voice to like not let the locals hear. It's a specialty brew from around my way of Methwood. It's a mushroom ale. Some say it's got magical properties, but I'm sure you'll find it a fine drink. I'm fine to cut you some of the produce if we allow me to brew.
Do you have a sampler?
Last I don't, except for these weird dregs at the bottom of these bottles. As you can see, it's a firm favourite between me and my friends.
He pulls out 2 shot glasses from behind the bar. Put a little couple of
Like-
drips in there.
Scrape together the dregs out of the bottles I've been carrying around.
Oh.
Brew together, I was like, this is effectively drip tray. It's not its best. Please take it. It's much better fresh.
Oh, I have a taste for the delicacies of a old brew. He kind of mixes in a tiny little bit of water just to turn it into a bit more of a liquid that's more akin to a paste. Well, in fact, he can roll. What's the con save he has to make?
DC 13.
Oh, as Harag kind of like shots this tiny paste back, it kind of gets stuck in the back of his throat. It's like, but a moment passes and he kind of looks at you as if, like, you know, the look when someone gives you when they realise they've eaten a chili that's way too spicy for them. And he takes a moment and he tries to stand tall. And then it suddenly passes and he looks at you and Aye. I'll allow it. But I must serve some behind the bar and make a cut.
Of course. That's fine by me. I'll put the biggest batch I can do together.
Cool.
It'll be ready in 2 days probably.
No, that'd be fine.
There isn't like an actual time on the brew, but as we're about for a few days, I think that makes sense.
Cool. Harag agrees. Unger and Medica, as you look around the beach Leviathan for any sign of your friend and defeated combatant, there is no sign of Spinor in the pub at this time. However, in the kind of end part of the tavern, where you had all kind of gathered round before to watch some fights, you see, I think it was an old gnome who was taking bets, who was still there, and he informs you that there are no fights on tonight. However, tomorrow there is a few rounds due to happen. Whether or not Spinor is around in town, he's not so sure. He hasn't seen him in a little while. But there will be more wrestling to be had tomorrow. And asks, maybe you'd be willing to enter into a round or two?
Unger grins from ear to ear and nods.
Medica says nothing and turns away and walks to the bar.
So moody. I wrestle fun.
Okay.
Would Medica know where Spinor spends his nights from the last time he spent like a few days with him?
I would say that from previous conversations, because you spent a bit of time with him, didn't you? And he has spent time in the Beach Leviathan in the past. He tends to stay around in Neverwinter, from what he has told you. But he has said that he travels up to Luskan every now and then to visit his son. However, he says he hasn't been there in a while. Could be he's maybe up that way. Not too sure.
Can Medica ask what's the bartender? If he knows anything?
Harag.
Yeah.
Captain Harag.
Harag. I walk up to him and you have any news about Spinor?
Oh, Spinor. He'd been away for a few days. He tends to come to and fro every now and then. I'm gonna have him roll. Aye. When he tends to go away, for around 10 or so day. Last I saw him was... Trying to think. He had a fight that night. He won. And he left the next morning. I know. I reckon he'd be back in the next day or so.
And then Medica comes a little bit closer. Would you have your finest room for man of God in a friendly price, so to say?
Aye, best room. Well, you could have the old captain's suite. 2 gold.
And can Medica ask a little more on top of that, like equipment for washing his gear and himself a little bit? And he likes to roll for persuasion with that.
Ooh, nice.
What did I say for the bath? 4 gold. Wait,
Yeah, amazing.
Harag would want to understand what you're looking for in terms of being able to wash. Are we talking about a sponge or a loofah?
Just anything that a man of his stature can keep himself going. Been a long trip.
Aye. I tell you what. Because I like you, I'll do you a little discount on the bath once your friend's done with it.
Has Abad gone to the bath yet?
I saw
no,
Avard
has gone to
failed
the
on the
river.
bus.
Yeah, they are at the river.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Abel
yeah.
went to the river.
Yeah, Medica wouldn't go on seconds, as you as you know.
He leans in. I'll give you the bath and the room for 4 gold.
Medica thinks for a while and 3, and I bless your establishment for the night.
Aye. I don't believe in any of that bullshit, but aye. I like your candor.
Alright, and Medica pays up and cast a bless spell to give good luck and protection for the bar for the night. It's a little bit, I'm not blessing 3 characters. I'm blessing the bar. Like, little whoa.
The bar counts as 2 people.
Yeah.
Awesome. So with that, let's call the evening, unless anyone else wants to run anything. Let's call the evening comes to a close. You set off. You find your rooms. And for those of you looking for kind of like a modest room, you're looking at about 5 silver pieces an evening. For something a little bit more comfortable, it's around 8.
A bit more comfortable than it is.
Okay.
I concur.
Basically goes for
8
the
silver
most
pieces.
comfortable room he can get his hands on.
Medica's already in the suite.
Yeah, unfortunately, Medica has already claimed the suite for his 2 gyps. So yeah, everything else is 8 silver pieces.
Finnan reluctantly sets up shop in the basement with the brewing equipment.
For that, it would only be a silver piece a night for kind of more squalid.
Sorry.
You get a nice little hammock. That's about it. Now, let's imagine the night passes. I want you to tell me what you all do at breakfast. What are you having? What are you talking about? What do you do in the early hours as you wake up? Tell me a bit about your routine.
Abard starts the morning with a little wistful thought of home, and he's going to go for a nice early jog around the port in full armor for a bit of fitness, then do around a couple of 100 press-ups as per, and then have some sausages.
Smash gets up, has a little leaf through some of his books just to keep his education on the go, and decides to gently wander down, have a sort of, nice cup of spiced tea, and then as much meat as he can get his hands on to start the day.
Finnan, what about you down in the lower decks?
So I'm going to check just in case. I'm assuming Finnan is alone in the lower decks of the Beach Leviathan.
I'd say there's probably going to be some other people that are sharing the accommodation in the night. There wouldn't be many.
Yeah,
So you'd be able to find yourself a nice space.
Cool. My
But I would-
concern was
but I
more
would ask
party
if-
members, so
Oh, well, that's completely up to you guys. I think based on everything else, everyone else went for comfortable rooms.
okay. Finnan is quietly thumbing through the spell book.
Necronomicon.
Yeah, the Necrobongacon. And sort of just looking at it, not reading because he knows what happens if he reads, but sort of just turning the pages quietly. Sort of comes to a start and goes, "Oh shit, I should probably get up and go to breakfast." Stashes it away, and takes it in his bag with him.
Can I ask you one thing?
Yes,
Roll me a wisdom save.
sure.
Oh. Ooh.
As you turn through the pages, you don't understand everything that's in these pages. You understand Goblin, but there is language, characters of writing. As you dive deeper into the book, it kind of gets to the point where it becomes even harder to understand. You really struggle to decipher the meaning. Some of it seems like jumbled sentences, words that don't string together, and you kind of feel yourself pulled into this book. It's hard to stop turning the pages and read these lines, even if they don't mean anything to you. But you manage to pull yourself away, and you go up to meet your friends.
Cool. At that point, I sort of stretch, order some standy breakfast, and over passing the butter, wave my knife at people and say, "I say, so are we going to sort our costumes out in case there's any tailoring delays for the next couple of days?"
Why, that's a very sensible idea.
I believe our expenses were going to be covered for the old costuming.
It's 2,000 gyps split between all of us.
Fucking hell. Sorry, I
Well,
mean,
I
a fine quantity of gold.
Yes, I was a bit disappointed that it wasn't 2,000 each, but we'll have to make it work, I guess.
333 gyps per costume is pretty good going, I think.
Well, a full Dragonborn turban and robe set often will get up to 500 GP, so we will have to economize somewhat.
Sounds like a problem for you.
Medica
Well,
hasn't,
I'm sure.
yeah.
Make it work. No, you go, Medica.
Yeah. Like Medica isn't at the table at the moment, and he's still in his room, and he's somewhat not dressed properly. He's just having a religious ceremony of a quiet kind, where he has his warhammer out and he's trying to intensely, he stares into it and trying to get into the realm, but he still doesn't know how it really works, and he's trying to give out prayers and stuff from here. Ooh.
And this is focusing on your weapon
Yes.
in particular.
Yes.
So when you had your experience with your weapon, it didn't feel necessarily like a religious experience, but that is from your past and your history, your means of trying to connect with other worlds, your higher being, whatever it might be. And there was something about the whole experience that felt of a higher power. You don't truly understand it, but focusing on it through that sense is definitely something that feels natural to you. Staring at the weapon in your room, it's hard to describe this bond that you feel with this weapon. You know that there is something about it that you're able to connect with. And you think back to your conversation with Underthrall, who claims to be within this weapon. Do you remember what he told you before you found yourself back in your body?
No.
And with that, you
Very
try.
Medica response.
Yeah. How does this make you feel? It does not.
And with that, you shake your head as you try to recall your conversation with him. You were almost out of your body in the sense that you felt detached from yourself, and you struggle to remember pieces of that conversation. When you've fought with this weapon, you have felt that connection. Not only just a few days ago, when you were last in combat, you felt this bond with it in the way that it swung through, and how it almost felt light against your muscles, and your ability to swing it. There is definitely a connection, but you struggle to find that psychological, mental connection that you'd had previously in this moment.
Right. And as Medica snaps back into reality, because he struggled to remember what was going on last time, he makes a deep sigh and starts to dress up in his armor. He does it really mechanically almost. It's nothing to, like, he knows exactly what to put in what order, and he does it exactly the same way as he does it all the time. And then he comes downstairs and takes whatever there is to eat, just without saying anything.
Okay. Unger, how about you?
Unger's going to arrive into the tavern through the front doors. He's up long before anyone at sunrise. Found a little quiet spot out on the pier. He's just kind of checking his gear, fiddling with things, looking at trinkets, looking at shinies, and picking through his hide coat and almost preening himself like a chimpanzee. He's going to come back in. He's going to grab as many sausages, bacon, and eggs as he can get his hands on.
Nice.
Smash is guarding sausage and bacon, growling. Any
growls back.
Letting out steam, well, not steam, smoke.
Unger is just going to take the sausages anyway.
Fair enough. Knows better not to disturb the party.
Okay. Now, I know that everyone has some bits and pieces they want to tie up whilst they're in the city.
Abard would like to go to a blacksmith at some point to go hand a quest in.
I was sure you were going to say brothel then.
Andy asked me to stop doing that in character.
Anybody else for the blacksmith?
Medica wants to go there, but he doesn't want to be associated too much with Abard.
Unger will take a little trip to the blacksmith. Or browse.
I need to go to a particular one.
Medica
Smash
will
won't
be
join them.
Yeah, Medica will be more likely to be strolling around and looking for different kinds of blacksmiths and assess which one is the best one.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you remember, there were two blacksmiths. The one that you all went to, previously, where you'd had conversations. But if you remember in that square, there was another blacksmith's literally over the other side of the square. Both looked quite similar in that instance. So you're aware of those two blacksmiths, but I'm more than happy to for you to go further afield if you'd like.
America would like to spend some time to walk around.
Shall we do, unless there's anyone else that wants to go to the blacksmiths, we can do a real quick overview of Unger and Abard. And I would say with all these shopping interactions, let's try and keep it short and sweet for everyone. Obviously, find out the things you want to find out, get the shit that you need. Yeah. So, Abard and Unger, you walk for a while through Neverwinter together. Is anyone else tagging along, or is it just these two on their own?
Rash is going to the priestly district at the moment, so he's doing his own thing.
Finnan's going to ask Harag something in a bit.
Blah, blah, blah. 2 secs. I'm trying to remember the NPC's name.
It's Branna.
Branna. It was Branna. Okay.
Branna's
Cool.
dependable defenses.
Yes. Yes. Cool. I thought my notes were correct. I just yes, got it. So as you approach into the square, things are busy in town. And you arrive at Branna's dependable defenses. Now, walking in, the shop is unchanged from the last time you were there. The smell of kind of soot and fresh steel and iron is in the air, with that kind of all of the filings and everything around on the ground. It's dusty and it's smoky. You hear the clang of hammer, and leading you around the corner of the shop, you find Branna, who is banging away with a hammer on what looks to be a fresh sword that he's creating. I'll pass to you.
Aha! Good Branna, old hawker of halberds, dealer of death. I bring news.
He kind of hears you through clangs of hammers and kind of turns around. Like, sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Oh, it's you.
Yes, it is. It is I. And I do not come alone. I travel far to the east, to Tribor, where I took a giant with a lance, the lance that I bought from you, in this gleaming armor that I also bought from you. And I've brought something back with me. In battle, I took them. I took what you asked for. I have here a jar. And in this jar are a giant's balls.
He kind of puts his hammer down to his side and just stares at the jar. And like, I'm imagining the jar is pretty big.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking like Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean, like
Yeah.
quite a big jar.
He kind of gets closer. He's like, my God. Those really are giant balls, are they?
Yes, a hill giant. One of the larger of the kind.
Well, shit. I didn't really anticipate you were going to do it, but come with me. And he walks around through. He's taken you in this room before, the kind of back door through into the back of his shop. And opening up into this room is kind of like long rows of different pieces that he's obviously half working through, unfinished projects. But at the back, he opens this cupboard, It's just a standard kind of wooden cupboard, but inside it opens up, and this gleaming set of plate armor sits on this kind of mannequin. Well, we had an agreement. I never thought you were actually going to do it, but I couldn't resist if it was for the actual reason you were going to get it. So I added a bit of a flair of my own. And he pulls off this kind of cloth that reveals the shining emblem of two meaty balls that hang on the chest of the armor. Behold, the plate armor of giant bulls.
Branna, my man, you've done it again. Great balls of brass. Outstanding, my man. An artisan, a master in your field.
And he explains to you some of the kind of benefits, but I can't remember if this actually shows with oh yeah, here you go. Does this show it? The plate armor of giant bulls. This plate armor was crafted by the blacksmith, I don't know what that says, Barden, Branner of Neverwinter, in a deal that he thought unlikely to be honored. He jokingly crafted a plate of armor bearing testicles of a giant. And it has some magical qualities to it, bolstering bulls, and fear no evil, fear no bulls. I'll allow you to read through those in your own time. Yes. However, there was a monetary agreement to you gaining this plate.
Yes, there was to be a 10% discount, and
Yes.
it was supposed to cost 1,500 gyps, so that would be 150 GP off, and then I'd be able to trade in my existing armor for another 200 gyps, which you'll see is much undented. Ignore the 2 arrow dents from the other day.
Kind of inspects it.
At the time, when he got pounded into the ground by a rock elemental as well. That must probably.
Actually, that bashed out most of the dints from before.
So he kind of looks at you then. So you have the rest of the coin?
Right, yes. So, soon. Very, very soon. I just need to pop to the bank, and I'll be able to hand over the rest of the monies.
Pardon the expression, but you're breaking my balls.
Ah, Branna! You! That is actually a specialty of mine, as you've seen in the jar. Right, well, I'll be back probably tomorrow just to finish that off once I've just sorted out the withdrawal. I'm sure there won't be a problem with these staying here overnight.
No, they're yours. I crafted them in case anyone else wanted them in the future if you never showed up. I kind of half thought that you might have died in your endeavor to go face giants.
No, that's me. The old bringer of Testaculus Terribilis. So, yes. Well, I'll see you upon the morrow, good sir.
Yeah. Alright, see you later then.
Yes. Goodbye.
And he looks over at you, Unger, as Abog just kind of strolls off. And can I help you?
Unger's kind of in somewhat of a daze, just looking at this conversation, not understanding much. You have big hammer, bigger than this, Unger says, brandishing his maul, waving it around.
Are you looking for a hammer in particular, or a blunt instrument, a blade?
Something kill more quickly. Something explode more heads.
Right. Yes, let me take a look. Can you remind me what current weapon you have right now, Unger?
I just have a maul, a regular old maul. I can link it Where is it? Here it is. I think I just rolled the damage. Hold on. There we go.
Well, it's scary that he has been doing all that damage with just a regular weapon.
Mm,
I don't know if I can. Can I get the? I can copy and paste the properties just so you can get a better.
Oh, that's cool. So Branna kind of looks around the shop, kind of looks in between and different weapons. He pulls out kind of like halberd, too sharp, something blunter, right?
Too sharp.
Too sharp.
Something can smash human into ground, smash giant.
Well, I've got these, and he kind of pulls out like a kind of small rack of some various like different hammers. They kind of look more kind of like sledgehammers than actual weapons. But I would imagine there's probably something akin to like a kind of maul or something in there, like a spiked hammer. Now, he kind of takes a look at your existing weapon. And he's, best I can do is maybe take this, melt it down, offer you some price off. I'd say for an upgrade on this, you're looking at 1,000 gold, really.
Bigger hammer.
I bet Unger doesn't really understand the value of money. It's like, is that a lot?
This is good price.
Look, have you got anything else? Maybe I can melt down. I don't mind doing exchanges or something like that, and I'm happy to take money off. Maybe I can use something that I can melt down and create you something custom.
Scratches his chin for a moment. Goes down onto one knee, slings his bag off his shoulder, starts rummaging around. He's going to throw out, clanging onto the floor, 2 warhammers. Getting into his bag of holding, he also pulls out of this bag, miraculously, a massive suit of heavy armor, clangs that onto the ground.
He kind of like staring at you as you're pulling all this. He's like the warhammers. It's like, okay, maybe. And then you pull out the armor. He's like, what the fuck was that? What is that bag?
It's my bag.
Kind of.
Take a look.
He kind of
Unger opens up the top of the bag and kind of angles it towards his face.
Sees into the abyss, like.
He sticks his head in the bag, and he's like, you kind of hear it echo, like, "Oh my god, it's massive in here." He pulls his head back out, and he looks down at the armor. That I can work with. On the face of it, and he kind of holds it up. It's really just steel. Doesn't look like it's more just to protect a bit of a meat bag. It'd go well on you, but it would slow you down. I tell you what, let me melt this down, and that maul you've got there, I can make you something proper. Let's say 600 gold, and I'll forge you a new weapon.
I'm just going to scratch his chin for a little bit. take a look back into his bag to see if he's got anything else in there. We say 500. I pay you now.
Roll me a persuasion.
Oof. Ooh.
He looks at it all. I don't know what it is about you lot. You've come here several times and I just seem to like you. It's a deal. And he holds out his hand.
Unger grasps it and shakes it vigorously. He hands over 500 gyps.
I appreciate the business. I'd ask that you keep on coming back to me if this is the case. I'm cutting you guys some pretty good fucking bargains here.
Yes, we come back. And I ask you, make big hammer.
Sounds good. Tell me, I need some inspiration. What do you want the weapon to be called? Sometimes it's quite nice to work back from a name.
Zug zug.
Zug Zug.
Zug zug.
Any meaning to that? I need a bit more. It's not really a word I'm familiar with.
He was friend, leader, my tribe. Brave, very strong. We live in mountains. Not seen him 3,000 years.
What?
3,000.
Right. 3,000 years. Okay, I can work with that. Zug Zug. Leave it with me. I'll craft something true to remember your friend by. And hey,
Unger,
who knows, he might still be out there, hey?
maybe. Unger nods resolutely and exits the shop.
Okay. Who wants to go next?
Shamash is already out en route, but he's not here.
He is here.
Oh my
Oh.
god, yes.
Yeah, I'm just making a bottle for my baby, but I can still do this at the same time.
Nice.
Well, we can do someone who's currently sitting down, so it doesn't have to think
That
about
might make more sense. Yeah,
I can go. I can go.
if that's all right.
Yeah, go for it. Medica, that's to you.
Right. Medica is walking around the city, taking his time. He likes to take a look at places and just quietly walk around. You know, observe people, observe places. And now he is specifically looking for any blacksmiths, and maybe take a walk inside every little place he finds. Look around without saying a word. Might turn away if he doesn't see something he likes. And I'll throw in a perception for that. It's quite a regular one.
So, looking around, tell me what in a shop would draw you the most?
Medica would like to... He's specifically looking for any kind of armor which has any kind of things that puts it apart from anything else. but he is also wary of like trinkets, rings, anything that gives him some kind of an aura, as to say.
Okay. So, on your search for a blacksmith, you pick up on one shop that looks slightly different to you, and you see in the window an array of weapons and armor. It doesn't look like a blacksmith's, but you're intrigued. And on the kind of signage, it reads Celophin Sing things. Celophin, yeah. Which is spelled Celorfin. Now, inside the shop, as you walk in, it is a mixture of all sorts. It's kind of part of it feels like an antique shop, another feels like it is like a collection of fine armors and weapons. They all look old. The bell rings behind you as the door closes, and you hear this gravelly voice coming from the back of the shop. I'll be with you in a moment. Are you looking for anything in particular?
Medica tries to take a look at objects that are from beyond the... I can't remember the name. The big happening. Was it Mage Blight?
The spell plague.
Oh, Spell Blight. Yeah, he tries to look for things that are before that time.
Yeah, and you'd see a lot of kind of dusty relics. There are books that you see dating back to before the spell plague. A lot of them kind of singed. They look like they might have been recovered from those before those times, potentially. You'd see a range of different items, though. It's a complete like mix. There's no real kind of rhyme or reason to how everything in the shop is displayed. Yeah, you kind of see like just a ball mace sitting on a table, which is next to a bunch of jewelry, a kind of pewter jar of a quill, things like that. It's a real mix. So being able to initially kind of note when things might have come from, it's hard to tell, but it all looks pretty old.
Medica would try to... He would like to close his eyes and try to meditate with it in his head and see if he has any connection to any item inside the shop.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna look if I have... I have one inspiration. I'm gonna roll inspiration on that.
Cool. So you feel like there is history of battle around you, and you think back and think about the chaos in which you used to live within, and you were drawn to a corner of the shop, and sitting on this it's not really like a mannequin, it's just like a stand. you see this half plate breastplate with this kind of red, kind of tattered fabric hanging off, which looks like the remnants of maybe a cloak or something. The armor is obviously steel, but it is darkened. Not black, but this kind of deep grey, dull shine of steel. And as you stare at it, you hear the shuffling feet of someone walk out to the side of you, and they stand next to you looking at the armor as well.
They're going to be waiting for a long time.
Medica doesn't say a word. He just keeps staring at the plate.
And the person next to you doesn't say anything for a while either. He doesn't even look at you. You get the sense it's a male. Out of the corner of your eye, you'd recognise him as a Firbolg, which is he kind of almost looks he kind of looks akin to something like almost like a mix between an elf, but slightly more hunched, kind of like a gnome in his stature, but he is the same height as you. He looks like he doesn't see a lot of sunlight. And you kind of get from the sense that he seems to be quite introverted, but he seems comfortable enough.
What's the history of this?
That is the armor of Morning Steel. I found it locked away in some old library in my travels.
Where?
Somewhere in Chisenta. I was told that it belonged to a general in an army of a war fought many, many hundreds of years ago. It's said to have been found on a battlefield, a particular battle, a vicious battle steeped in bloodshed.
What happened to the general?
I assume he died. Otherwise, why would it not be on his body?
Medica keeps staring at the armor, trying to find any faults in it.
Roll me a investigation. The 9. Staring at it, you wouldn't see anything necessarily about it other than at face value. You can see like there are elements of scratches and stuff, but it looks like it has been polished well and kept tended to. It doesn't seem to be a layer of dust on this item, akin to a lot of the other items in the shop. Yeah, nothing particularly stands out.
How much is it?
Well, it isn't a full set. Apparently there was more, but I was not able to get that. That being the case, tell me, What is your name?
My name is Medica Insanus. I am a priest.
And tell me, Medic Insanus, what is your purpose on this world?
To be the most powerful man there is.
Ha! The most powerful man. Now that is an objective if I had ever heard one before. And how are you going on that journey?
I have been facing a misfortune, and I must find my way again.
And maybe this armor is the thing that will help you on that path, huh?
Perhaps.
Well then, name your price, that I may ask one thing in return.
What's your price?
If you find the rest of this armor, I would like you to bring it to me. I would like to document it for my records. And I am old. I cannot go out and find this anymore. It will be yours, of course. But I ask you to bring it to me.
I shall. I will pay you. What was it? Half plate? Sorry, I'm checking the price if I can find it. Look.
Sounds like metagaming to me.
There are no price tags in this shop.
Right. If I give you part of my current armor, it resembles this. 250 gold.
Do you have anything with history attached to it?
Medica looks around. And he sees his gloves. He looks at them and takes them off his hand and give them to him. Gloves of the bear.
Interesting. Yes. I think this will do.
He takes them and he puts them down on an empty pedestal on one of the rows in the shop,
It is yours.
pointing up to it.
Take it.
One last thing.
Yes.
You happen to have any symbols? Holy symbols?
Oh, I thought you meant drum symbols there. I have a few of those from ancient war drums. But religious symbols, holy symbols. I have some. Is there any specific era or deity you're looking for?
I would like to find a symbol belonging to the god that the sailors used to pray silently under their breath.
You refer to Thassa, the goddess of the sea.
No. Not a goddess. A god.
I'm sorry, I do not follow you.
Do you know the one-eyed man?
You speak of Talos.
Medica turns his head, stares right into his eyes. And with the slightest nod, just gives you affirmation.
The worship of Talos these days is something less practiced than it once was. However, my shop is that of history. And he kind of potters off into behind a door and is gone for a few moments. And he returns back through this small little box and he opens it. And there is a small gold ring bearing 3 lightning bolts.
Medica sees this and it gets like kind of breathless for a moment. How much?
It is merely a ring. I do not know if it possesses anything about it. It is yours for 100 gold. I see no value.
Medica immediately says, "Deal." Sticks his hand out.
Okay. Cool.
And he takes his items and walks away into the beach Leviathan.
Awesome. Salanor bids you farewell. And now we run over to Finnan.
Sweet. So Finnan's been hanging around with the brew, keeping it going and tinkering it as he's going for a higher yield than usual, so he can give some to the Beach Leviathan and Harag. And speaking of Harag, Finnan notices he's alone and goes to find him and sort of says, "Harag, my friend, do you know of anywhere where people are knowledgeable of magical items?"
Aye, there's many in Neverwinter.
How about magical items of potentially not such nice origin?
Are you talking black magic, Sonny?
I'm not sure, and I want to find out.
Well, there is one. There's a down in the south of the city. There's a woman that's some call her the witch. Maybe she'll be able to help you.
Does the witch go by another name?
I think that she calls herself Demir.
Okay.
I've never had much to do with her, if I'm honest. Not the magic type.
Me either, if I'm honest. However, I want to get to the bottom of this. To the south, you say, would that be near the Protector's Enclave or closer to the Grand Shittery?
Aye, that'll be the Grand Shittery.
Okay. I'll thank you for your advice. I flip in a silver piece and set out towards the Shittery in search of Demia the Witch.
Excellent. It wouldn't take you long to find this through different directions to guide your way through Neverwinter. What you come across is this kind of bedraggled looking thatched cottage that's just kind of plonked in the middle of nowhere. Knocking on the door, you don't hear any response. Do you go in?
Can I? Hang on. Let me just see what spells I've got equipped. Nothing useful. I knock a second time and go, "Hello."
As you knock on the door just kind of slowly opens. And you see the inside is this just dark room.
If it's a dark room, I cast Dark Vision to see inside. And as the door has opened, not confidently, but tentatively step in and go, "Hello, Demir? Are you there?"
And immediately from behind you, you just hear a yes.
Oh my god! Oh, you started me. I may have something in my possession which I'd like to learn more about. Maybe about its origins, and should I be using it is the other question, I think.
As you kind of look to try and see where Demir is behind you, she's already gone and she's appears in another corner of the room.
Oh, what goodies do you bring to Demir? Please, put them on the table. Put them on the table.
And this table just appears in the middle of the room.
Okay.
This nice little kind of just oaken round table.
Put them on.
So, the first thing I have is something to get you warmed up on. And I take out the Baloo Summonu from my pocket and go, "Behold, this once used to conjure bears out of thin air, but it's now, I don't know, it's not working anymore. I was wondering if there's a way to charge it up, or is it done for?"
Do I look like some just greengrocer out of magic? This is below Demir's skills, but if you say there is more, then yes. I need 3 hairs from your head.
I'm assuming she just nicks them anyway.
She does.
And I need something of personal value to you.
Low value.
Personal.
Oh. Oh my god. Bear with me. Finnan starts rummaging in his bag. How about a copy of my infamous ale recipe?
It's not very personal, but I guess it will do.
Only I know how to brew it from the local town. It even has magical properties.
Yes. Put it in the bowl.
And this cauldron appears on the table.
Put them in.
And then a fire just like appears from underneath the cauldron, and the table just immediately burns away underneath, and the cauldron flashes down onto the ground, and a liquid just starts to bubble forth.
Now, throw in the stick.
Finnan cautiously drops it in. Not sure about the whole thing.
And now, the final piece of the recipe. You must speak the name of a loved one.
I see.
Under his breath, he goes, Magna Randus.
Magna Randison.
And the potion just bubbles up.
Finnan takes a step back and like, oh my god.
The liquid just like disappears into this smoke, and at the bottom of the cauldron you see the blue summoner who is just there. She pulls it back out.
That will be 50 gold, please.
I'm gonna trust you that this works, and here's the coin. And I hand it over because I don't want to haggle with the scary magic lady.
Yeah, all good.
And where is the juiciness of everything else you bring?
Now that we've dealt with the pleasantries, behold, and Finnan, without describing it, just gets out the book of spiciness and doesn't tell her he has the staff with him. Just sort of puts it on the table and goes, "This book has caused much destruction. We're not quite sure what it is, where it's coming from, or what it's doing. It makes me want to keep reading it. It's like I can't put it down."
Intriguing.
She looks at it for a moment and puts it down on the table and just stares at it. And there are words across the front that you would recognize to a degree. There are mixes of goblin in there. And she starts to read them, and they read slightly differently to how you've interpreted it.
Vasak Tomak.
Don't say it out loud. Bad things
Means-
happen.
It is fine, dear. It is just the title of the book.
Okay.
But it translates into the Tome of Death. The Necrogobicon.
Wait, what was that?
The Necrogobicon.
Ah! Imagine like some sort of like emanates out from the book at the name being
Yeah,
said.
it is a bigger name than it sounds. It is not anything compared to the Necronomicon. That is far, far more evil. The Necrogobicon is more the beginners. It's like the Necronomicon for dummies. It's how you get started on the evil stuff.
Intriguing. Considering it's so powerful, from misadventure and multiple dead horses.
And evil is evil. There's not much more to it than that.
I suppose so. I suppose so. Tell me, if someone was wanting to use this against people, what would you do?
If I wanted to use it against people,
Yeah, like a bad person. Fight fire with fire sort of style.
well, the book is merely part of what is required. It needs a vessel, typically in that of a a wand or a staff or I don't know. I've seen people use coat hangers, something to feed it through.
Intriguing. So if someone was to possess both items, they could wield this book.
Indeed, and if wherever you got this from has a partner, the two are binded.
Terrifying. Do you know of anyone who could help in the teachings of using this book if I was to find the second binded item?
Well, I only know so much black goblin, as they call it. The black speech of the goblin is long forgotten. The goblins became stupid. They forgot their own languages. I am afraid even I do not know the depths of it. You would need to find someone who was there, who spoke it, a native of the language. This, as she kind of pulls through the pages, seems to be scribbles, interpretations. It is not the real deal in most cases, but there are some. Maybe it can be completed.
Would you know of anyone who possesses this knowledge?
That's a good question. Maybe there is some. I have never acquainted myself with goblins, but I have heard of them. Pockets, tribes, all around. You must find an elder. Goblins live for a long time. You need to find one who is old enough.
Intriguing. Well, thank you for your advice. Can I give you any coin for your time?
Yes, that would be a guidance fee of 100 gold.
Oh, okay,
Wow.
okay. I hand over the coin and sort of like shuffle backwards from and go, well, thank you for your time, Dimara. It's been enlightening and terrifying.
Yes, come again, dear, come again. And then
What-
she just completely disappears into thin air.
Okay. And with that, Finnan sort of has like 1,000-yard stare and just sort of wanders back towards the Beef Leviathan to go check up on the brewery.
And as you walk out of the shop and you kind of get down like slightly down the road, you look over your shoulder back at the shop and it isn't there anymore.
Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Shamash, how about yourself?
Well, I guess it's time to wander to the priest district.
So, wandering into the temple district, there are a number of different, not churches, like small temples. Nothing like major. They're all kind of like what you would typically find in a city. You find like a shrine to the god of luck, to a lot of focus around kind of animals and health, all the kind of things that you would typically find in this kind of like populated area where the more day-to-day gods would be celebrated. What are you looking for?
So Shamash, after his touch with the soul of Arjan Hippocardus, is looking for more information on the supposedly evil person Bane. Now, despite Shamash being relatively bloody-minded, he realizes that some of the more upscale temples might not necessarily be that au fait with passing out, where he could find people who know about Bane. So he's going to look out for the slightly seedier temples, the slightly less reputable ones potentially, and start asking around to try and figure out if they know any more information about the Dark Lord Bane, but also about Arjan Tempacardis or anything about him and his family. As obviously he's still got to return his scales as part of Dragonborn ritual. Clan is everything.
So, Arjan Tempacardis, you have little knowledge of where he's come from.
Very little.
And roll me an investigation. Kind of summon through this.
Hit.
I would say that in Neverwinter you struggle on without like diving into like archives and trying to find out family history and things like that. I think you would struggle to find any link to Arjan, any mention.
Yeah,
of
that's
his
fair.
name. And just by asking around, people kind of stare at you like, don't know who that is, and don't know many Dragonborns around these days.
No,
But on your questions around Bane, roll me a history check.
oh, for fuck's sake.
In your enclave and in your history, you haven't associated yourself as much with the rest of the civilization, of which maybe some of the other party has, and the worship of different deities and things are maybe sometimes strange to you, and you don't fully understand it, necessarily follow all of the different gods or are aware of all of them that have been around, but Bane would be enough of a trigger when you ask around that people are obviously confused by you asking, and I would say a kind gentleman would explain to you that, well, Bane is just a bit of a distasteful accumulation of thoughts and beings anyway. The whole theme around this god is he is unsavory. I mean, who would worship someone who would celebrate torture and suppression of people? I mean, that is truly evil. I think it would be hard pushed to find anyone in this fine city who would have any affiliation. I'd imagine he's used more as nasty stories to keep children scared.
Yes, well, I fear for the people of the city, the dark people, and what they may be tempted with in the cold light of the dark night. So I just look for those who may be lost, who may engage with this potential fantasy, so I can understand it further and make sure they pose no threat to the rest of us.
It is an interesting thought, indeed. It is good
A
that
worrying
people are
At least Kimgo has all in mind.
Now, I would. How would I do this? Think back about the question you asked Argent Tempacardis. And that reply that you heard. And imagine you mull it over in your mind as you're walking around. And roll me an insight check.
I think I'm going to use some inspiration for this, given my last few rolls.
Oh no.
Do you mind me reading it out loud?
Oh yeah, of course. No, go for it.
So you think back on the question that you asked. And you asked Arjan who he serves. And the response you had was, I serve the Black Hand, the Lord of Terror and Hate itself. Bane. Now you think about that word, serve. Now you think it's the question to determine who he worked for.
Who gave him the power, arguably? Who made him able to perform such fantastic feats with such little expenditure of supposed energy? Surely it is a power to be reckoned with. Power to be mindful of. Power to envy.
Indeed. And you think about that word serve again, and indeed, he was bestowed with incredible power. But he also had other motives in life. And serve is a multifaceted word.
Of course. Could the Black Hand be someone else then? Or was the Black Hand Bane?
And that thought dwells in your mind. But unfortunately, no answers come in Neverwinter.
Well, it's good to know some background on this Bane, who they speak. Perhaps someone has heard of the Black Hand, but who knows? Well, Shmash continues his wander around. Just asked whether anyone knows of any Dragonborn around, or see if they've seen any Dragonborn, just to try and go back to his other aim of returning the scales to Arjan's family.
I would say that your appearance to most people in Neverwinter is slightly unnerving, and it's not like it's not like a racist thing. But it is.
I'm not
more like-
racist, but
no.
However,
no,
people
this
are
is-
visibly shaken by your appearance.
the Dragonborns just aren't very common in this part of
Yeah.
the world. Historically, Dragonborns have been relatively isolated in their own communities,
Yeah.
and very few actually venture out of their enclaves. So to see them in the scales can often be unnerving to people who have never left their home before. So you are met with a lot of nervousness, I would say. And as much as you're trying to smile, a lot of people take it as evil, as menacing, teeth-baring grins. So I would say that you would be under the understanding that there are Dragonborns in Neverwinter. You haven't seen any yet, but a few people would at least say that they've seen Dragonborns before within the city.
well, with his quest relatively unfilled, Shmash goes to look for some lunch instead.
Just on the back of that, I'd ask you just to make me a persuasion check on some of the conversations.
Hold on.
Okay.
Have you all seen any Dragonborn? Please, I must get in contact with their clan.
With this, you've actually approached a small child. She's only
Classic.
around 6. But she's not nervous. She's not nervous at all. She stares at you, really interested and intrigued. The innocence of childhood. She just stares at you like you're quite an amazing creature. She
That
nods
I
her
am,
head.
dear girl.
Yes. Yes, I've seen more of your type before. In fact, I've seen them. They meet up on one of the corners sometimes. Now where was it? Down near the Protector's Enclave. There's a small bathhouse. I've seen them before. They look just like you. Different colours and stuff, but they do meet up.
My word. I have no idea what joy that brings to me, young girl. Tell me, what is your favourite object?
Object, I like my little horse.
And she has like a small wooden horse.
Well, watch this. And Shmash proceeds to blow or attempts to blow a horse, a fire breath that goes into the shape of a horse for her. Can I roll a
Can we
performance?
roll here, and then if it's a
Performance.
natural one, he chars the girl to ashes?
See what he rolls first.
Oh no.
You have no idea what that
Don't
was.
prove the
Stefan.
racists right.
Watch this. Just melts this little girl.
Just a pair of shoes left on the ground.
These are before the next session, just Dragonborn crystal narked across all of Neverwinter.
And like that fallout text if like everyone disliked that.
Oh, let's roll.
Oh,
Thank God.
Whoa.
I was really
Quite
thinking it was going to build
impressive.
up for so long.
Yeah.
You form this impressive fire plume that then just goes out into the shape of a horse, and she just looks at it as it passes up and just dissipates into the sky. She's like,
Oh, wow. Thank you, sir.
Rash just nods, winks, turns 360 and walks the other way.
she starts running down the street, and then she gets trampled by a horse.
Oh God! What the hell?
God damn.
The shopping is over.
Oh. The 5 minutes per shopping didn't go to plan, but I think actually it was good. It was good. It was good fun.
Good LRP.
Yeah.
Some nice exercising the RP muscles there. Awesome. I think realistically, for the party session, I might need a bit more time to prep. But what we could do is still at least do the planning as more of just like a loose. Like we don't have to do a full session around it, but more like get in the boardroom, figure out the.
We still need to buy our clothes as well.
Yeah, we do.
Exactly. So why don't we
And
do
the fights potentially.
Yeah. So why don't we do? Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So I think we've got good enough stuff for a session.
Yeah. Also next week, obviously, I'm coming back from London, so I'm just going to be a bit. If all things goes well, I'll be fine. If everything goes tits up, then who knows?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Nice one, boys. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been good.
Nice children.
Yeah.
That's good fun.
Oh, good.
All things start to build towards the meeting of the minds. So yeah, we'll pick it up next week on going to get the clothes, and the action plan, and maybe a bit of oiled up wrestling in the back of the pub.
Just want to return a little bit to the armor I bought. What was the class of it? Was it...
I'll share it with you.
Yeah, because I realized if
actually-
it's a medium armor, it will fuck me up actually, because I can only do heavy armor.
No,
That's it.
don't worry. I've sorted that. I just need to change one thing on it to make it right in that sense. But yes,
Yeah,
don't worry.
alright.
I really can.
Yeah, cool.
What I'll do is I'll send it to you, and then we can look at how we get it up to speed of what you need to do. In terms of everyone else who got some shit, Sam, you should be able to search the plate armor, and that should appear in your inventory.
Yeah, that's fine. Is it just plate armor, or is it? Did you say there's additional stats?
Well, if you search the item, it will show you what comes with it
Okay, cool.
in your inventory. So it's the plate armor of giant balls.
Oh,
And, huh?
bear with me.
Yes, I'll put it in the chat.
I didn't actually see it in the chat. Oh, there we go. Right, I see. I've got you.
Balls.
Yeah. And then what else? So I need to give you your armor, Medica, and and these are for you.
Nice. I have a question about the Baloo Samano. How many charges did it get in the process, or do I just have to try and find out?
Check the item. Oh, it doesn't have. Did we never put charges on it?
No, we just sort of said it had 2, and that was the law, so we stuck to that.
Oh, he said he had 2 left on it.
Yeah, yeah.
What's this? Okay. The dice have spoken. Okay, that's added now to the Blue Summoner. That's still my favourite magic item.
So much capacity for chaos, it's excellent.
And yeah, Medica, I just need to edit yours, and I'll give it to you. I'll do that tomorrow for you if that's cool.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
can give you the. I'll tell you
Oh,
what. I
nice.
can give you the base description. In fact, add it, and then I'll make the amendment so AC is on par with what you need. It is. There you go. That's the name of it. Should appear.
Right. What about the ring? Does it have any name, or is it just a generic ring?
Oh. Just note that in your inventory for now.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'll get back to you on the couple more things next time as well.
Yeah. You gotta allow Branna time to craft that shit.
Oh, I mean the black knife and the shrunken head.
Oh fuck yeah, we didn't do that, did we?
Still good. We can do it next time.
Cool. Okay, sounds good. Sweet then, boys. Let's leave it there. I'm gonna head to bed.
Nice.
Right.
Yeah, I'm absolutely shattered as well.
Yeah,
Nice
likewise.
one.
Mm,
Yeah, let's pick up next week.
Yeah, sick.
cool.
Sounds good.
Thanks for the shares.
Sweet. Nice one, guys. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
Boys.
nice one.
Yeah, nice one.
Chilled out.
Cheers.